Okay, looks like we are live. Hello, everybody. My name is Emma Farrick. I am the founder of Elf Operations, and welcome to another live for the behind the scenes series that I am currently running here on YouTube. I've started behind the series behind the scenes as a way to bring up conversations that aren't typically talked about in business to help open up the behind the scenes in business, really. So talking about some of the tougher things, some things that maybe get overlooked. And today we're going to be talking about what we're going to be breaking down metrics in your business. So, today, not feeling the best, I'm not feeling energetic, and that's okay. Because metrics can really help when you're feeling emotional in your business and help you prevent making a mistake. I don't know why I got tongue tied over that, but I did. Not a mistake necessarily, but metrics help take out the emotion and decision making, really is what I'm trying to get at. So, what metrics should you be tracking? Instead of saying, I feel like this isn't working, instead of saying, I feel like I should be doing this, or like, what is the data telling you? So, as a CEO in your business, numbers, metrics, data, things like that to most people are not fun. I used to be a data analyst in my past life prior to founding Elf Operations. So I love numbers, I love metrics, I love data. I am very left brain when it comes to these types of things. I am not creative. I don't like that aspect of my business. If you see me looking down, it's because Lila's in here with me. But data is my safe place. Give me a spreadsheet, give me numbers, give me a problem to solve or a question to answer. And I love looking at the spreadsheets and the information that goes along with it. So if you are intimidated by data, this is a great video for you to be watching, because we're going to break down some of the things you need for it, some of the myths, and then we'll talk about a little bit how we can some tools that can help you if you're just starting out or if you're maybe a little bit more advanced in your business. So that there is actually a key difference between KPIs and business metrics. So let's start there. I think that'll be the best place for everyone, because sometimes these words online are interchanged. A KPI is a key performance indicator, which is a measurable value that demonstrates how effectively your company is achieving a key business objective or goal. So oftentimes people think all metrics are KPIs, which is not correct. A KPI can be a metric, but some metrics cannot be a KPI or are not used that way. So KPIs are really what it comes down to, used at many levels in your business. They can be used in many levels in your business, but they are the way, like if you're making a SMART goal, if you're creating a SMART goal, that's the measurable piece of that goal, is what is that number and how are we tracking? How are we seeing those results? So a KPI is going to help you see progress, and metrics are really just the measure of processes. They measure anything and everything. They can measure anything and everything. Not that you should be tracking all those metrics if it doesn't make sense for your business. But there are a lot of data that can give you answers within your business. And so KPIs are going to be, what are our metrics for our goals, and then what are some other metrics that we'll be tracking just to see like performance, and like these metrics will help identify, what maybe needs to be tweaked, and tracking those metrics can help identify potential issues that need to be made into KPIs, or need to be like the data will help you see if the trend is, or if there is an underlying issue with your data. So with KPIs specifically, that's like I mentioned, the measurable part of your SMART goal. So if you have a target or goal within your business, an objective, like a prime example is I want to raise revenue by 20% this year, or I want to increase our lead intake by 200. Okay. That's a measurable number. What is the KPI that we're tracking? In revenue, it's the 20%. We're tracking an increase in 20% of revenue. How do we find that number? Where is it going to come from? What is our baseline? Usually with a KPI, there's a baseline and like a target. So then the actions are going to be the steps in between to achieve that KPI, where business metrics are going to be, key metrics that we're taking track of on a recurring basis, usually monthly. I recommend monthly, and then seeing a trend over time. Then we have access to that data if things are arising. Metrics are for like YouTube examples. It's not a goal. It doesn't matter, but we want to see growth in our YouTube. So, you want to see retention. You want to see how many leads is this? If this is your key marketing strategy, I want X amount of leads to come from YouTube. Well, how many leads are you even coming? I don't know if everyone can hear Lila, but she's putting her 2 cents in. But how can we increase the views? So that's when that's a KPI, but some metrics that might be just relevant to track is retention, source, who's converting off of YouTube videos that you have. And metrics can be at very many levels of your business. There's, financial metrics, there's operational metrics, there's employee performance metrics, and there are, that's Lila's son. There's sales metrics, there's marketing metrics. There's a lot of different metrics that you can track in your business at different levels, depending on the size of your business. If you're still starting out in a solopreneur, some of the key metrics that you want to be tracking just in general is lead sources, revenue, profit margin. So how much profit do you actually have based on your expenses? Depending on your marketing strategy, key metrics could be conversion off of social media, conversion from your YouTube channel, podcast. If you have a podcast, there's metrics related to that. So there's a lot of different places to identify those metrics, and then to track them. But then they become a KPI if you have, sorry, Lila keeps distracting me. Lila. Okay, thank you. Now, when a metric becomes a KPI, it's helping you target in and focusing on, I'm going to achieve X number, or I'm going to grow by X percentage, or a number, like a solid number instead of a percentage. So some KPIs are, I would like to grow my email list by 100 people in this quarter alone. So what are the targets or actions that we are taking within our business to achieve that? I want to grow X number of people on my social media, because you maybe have a 40 or 50% conversion rate off your social media. So those kind of metrics can help you make decisions for when you're building out your strategy. And that's a lot of what I talk about. If you've seen it or haven't seen it, I have this Success Without Stress masterclass, and it talks about making your goals, using the SMART framework to create your goals, and then, helping you identify key metrics within there, and giving some examples of that. So some examples that are in there are, profit margin, revenue, number of leads, lead conversion. And I break it down into marketing, operations, and then finance, because I feel like those are the 3 key areas that you definitely want to start tracking within your business at the beginning, or if you have at any level. Those are just some of the foundational pieces, so that you're not really overwhelmed starting out. Like if you've never been, if you haven't been tracking metrics or haven't been tracking KPIs. And for KPIs, you know, you're not going to be able to have a target if you don't know your base. So making sure that you start and you can see a base number and have that data to help you with your decision-making process of what is or isn't working. A great example of this is if you're spending marketing dollars on an ad campaign, but you notice that the ad campaign's not converting, well, that can really signify a few different things, and you could dig deeper into the data of, is it, where are we losing them? First off, like how many, what are the numbers telling us? Is then tweaking one or two things, one thing at a time, really, not one or two. You should be really focusing on one thing, but it can help you pinpoint potentially what one or two things are causing this. It could be a copy, it could be, you know, everyone loves to jump to it's the offer, but it's not always the offer. It could just be like a tweak in the wording, a tweak in the client journey. It could be a tweak in an automation to help them buy and understand what they're buying. But okay, back to the example of, you know, you're spending money on marketing, an ad, and it's not converting. But if you look at the data, you see that you look at your metrics and you find out, you know, oh, we actually get 50% of our revenue from repeat customers. So, you know, it's actually cheaper and better for us to be putting more marketing dollars or money into our client and client retention, and spend less time trying to make something work that isn't. Just clearly by the data, not by your gut, not by your feeling, not by your emotion. You know, we want to collect that data to have a baseline in our business, and then when we tweak things, we can see, is it working, is it not working, in a not emotional way. We're looking at it from a very logical mindset when it comes to decision making for our business. So if you look at those numbers and I have identified them, and you're able to, you know, say, okay, these are my frameworks, this is the trend I'm seeing from this data, but oh, sorry, I got ahead of that. You have your numbers, you're like, I know these are the metrics I want to identify and these are what I want to be tracking, but maybe you aren't sure how to go about doing it in the most efficient way to track those metrics so that you can make some of them KPIs for your business. Thank you, Lila. A couple of suggestions that I have and can recommend for anyone who is maybe newer to this or is intimidated can be to use ClickUp to just kind of manually enter in some numbers, because depending on the software that you're using, a lot of data can be tracked for you, but then it's bringing certain pieces together. So ClickUp, you can enter in a lot of numbers. You can at least be reminded to go and get that data once a month instead of just like vaguely remembering it on a spreadsheet. Because now with ClickUp, you can calculate a lot of data and see them in the dashboards. This can get a little tricky. I love ClickUp. I'm a huge ClickUp consultant, like advocate. But there's certain things in that if you have to make sure you're entering in the data right to see the right number and the right metrics coming back for you. So with that being said, there's other ways to automate some of your metrics, and, you know, Google Analytics is great for website metrics and some conversion metrics if you are able to, if you're selling stuff online. I know a lot of online owners, they're selling their invoices are after a conversation. So maybe it doesn't, some of those metrics can be tracked in different places that need to be combined to say maybe understanding your conversion rate or thank you, Lila. To get the number that you're wanting, you have to put in some formulas. So there are some tools that are available online that you can use. I'm still testing around a few to see which ones are my favorite and to play around with for my clients, but some that I have found that are low cost available for people, and recommendations that I've gotten from others in my area or in my industry, that you can use. And this also depends predominantly on what kind of software and what kind of tools you're using, and if they integrate with the dashboard tool. So when you're looking and deciding, that's one of the biggest things I would bring attention wise is, does this work with the tools that I'm currently using? Do I know what metrics I need to be tracking? Can they even provide those? So if you don't have those two things figured out, I would continue to manually be tracking things and decide those things first before you invest in a dashboard tool. If you're using your website, obviously Google Analytics is the best place for you to get your data, your metrics there, and then just create a task for yourself to, check in on those until you create a habit of monthly, and just really understanding and seeing that trend of what's working, what's not working. So some tools that you can use are DataBox. They have the ability to help you with combined a lot of your KPIs and metrics into one place. They integrate with quite a few tools. It's free to sign up and to test out, but there are just various different features that you can use for it. But again, it depends on what tools that you want to integrate with it and what you're trying to first accomplish. To understand, you need those in place first, like I said before, you invest in the software, but you can go around and play and use it. Another one is Clipfolio. It is also, I believe, free to sign up, but it's really marketed for funnels and tracking your data for funnels. And you can customize it and you can calculate different things by bringing that data together. So that's another option that I've been toying with. And then Dash This is really specific to marketing metrics. So depending on what your focus is and what you're trying to do, that could be a potential option with helping you gather data from various sites or software tools to get concrete numbers that you're tracking. And a lot of these tools will automatically integrate with Google Analytics so that you can have your website analytics, and it will help. It'll also integrate with your email marketing tool, because you want to see how those are converting, because that's a huge one, especially in the online spaces, email marketing metrics. And like I said, you want to identify what makes sense for you and your business first. And if you have any specific questions, I'm always available to, if you drop a comment, I will get back to you and answer it. If you want to, if you're kind of struggling on saying like what metrics make sense for me and my business, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to talk to you and help you with that question, because that's a question I get a lot from clients. And as their businesses grow, their metrics evolve and change about what we're putting the most value on at any given point. And I hope you guys found this enjoyable. Please make sure you like and subscribe if you want to learn more about the behind the scenes and hear guests that I have coming up. And also there are other ops focused topics that I will be covering, not only just numbers, but processes, systems. We'll be going into that. Because that is really the behind the scenes about business that many people kind of overlook, or it's not as glamorous. So, we're going to talk about it here. So if you want to learn more, make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week.